everyone, welcome to another video. And this time, it's cards from the pre-release that I didn't use. I'd like to state some of these I did use in the sense of first round, my deck I used. Then I realized I made horrible mistakes and got people to help me. Thank you, people. Yeah, I'm horrible at making decks. At least in short notice. And even not short notice, they're not that great. So, anyway, here we go. I would have done them how I did the other ones, but I was just like, since I'm really bad at judging how much time I need. So, we're going to start with green. I haven't separated these by pre-release. They're all bundled together because I don't want y'all to know how bad I am at making decks in a time limit. Just assume I'm a newbie, okay? Because I'm not too far away from it, really. First card is Ambuscade, something Scade. Costs 4 and 2, and it's an instant. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. So kind of like Trial or Cartouche of Strength, whichever one it was. It's Croco. And a fox. A Croco with horns. That's pretty cool. Next card is actually one of my favorites since it's in my new Perspectives deck. Sheffet Monitor. It costs 4 and 5, and it has cycling of 4 and 3. And if you cycle it, you may search your library for a basic land card or a desert card to put it into the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. Do this before you draw. 6/5, and considering how many deserts have been added, this card is even better. Too bad deserts enter tapped. The colored ones, at least. Next card is Stinging Shot. It costs a forest, and put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature with flying, and it has cycling of 2. So there you go. Next card is Spidery Grasp. It has a cost of 4 and 2, and you can untap target creature. It gets +2/+4 and gains reach until end of turn. I don't know why they explained reach. Has it been that long since reach was a thing? Because I remember it. Next card is Initiate's Companion, which costs 4 and 1, and when it becomes when it deals damage to a player, combat damage, untap target creature or land, and it's a 3/1. It looks like a cheetah until you look at the shape of its body. But it still kind of makes me think of a cheetah. A weird cheetah. Our next card is Resilient Kinra. It costs 4 and 1. When it enters the battlefield, you may have target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Resilient Kinra's power, and you can internalize it for 2 4 and 4, which means you exile the card from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 Black Zombie Jackal Wizard with no mana cost. Eternalize only as a sorcery, and it's a 2/2 without Eternalize. Yay. I'd like to state, if I ever misread something and I put it up here and try to fix it, I'm going to misread it more. Because on my screen, everything's shown mirrored for some reason. So it looks backwards on the screen. I don't know why. Next card is Overcome. It costs 2 4 and 3. Creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. Just put that on some ginormous double striker, and it's a good day for everyone. Except for your opponent. Next card is Naga Vitalist. It costs 4 and 1. You can tap it to add to your mana pool 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. And it's a 1/2. Too bad you can't use this with Manalith, because Manalith isn't a land, sadly. Because that would be great. I wonder if you combine that with Aether Hub. Because it says it could produce. Which technically would mean You could do any color because of Aether Hub. But I bet the ruling doesn't say that. Would be interesting, right? Next card is Prowling Serpopard. The first time I saw this card, I did not understand what was going on. Didn't. Because I didn't realize where its head was, and I was just like, what the hell? It has 2 tails, and one's ginormous. Anyway, it costs 2 force and 1. It can't be countered, and creature spells you control can't be countered, and it's a 4/3. I mean, seriously. If you didn't see the eyeballs and stuff, you'd think that's a ginormous tail, and then you'd be like, wait, there's a tail at the other end. What is this? It was fun, okay? Next card is Haze of Pollen. It costs force and 1. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn, and it has cycling of 3. My friend used this against me at pre-release and was like, you're going to be mad, because I attacked with everything. I'm like, not mad. You can't kill me. Either way. So, I just killed him like next turn, I think. That was the zombie god card. Scarab god. Yeah, I had that, so. Hope Tender costs force to 1. You can pay 1 to tap it, and you untap target land. Or you can pay 1, tap it, and exert Hope Tender, and untap 2 target lands. And it's a 2/2. And every time, it keeps getting weirder. Every time I see it, I'm like, what? I don't know why. My brain just doesn't understand that being a creature name, I guess. The next card is Ronus's Stalwart. Costs force and 1, and you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less this turn. And it's a 2/2, and I have 2, 4, 5 of them. Yay, commons! But that's through 3 pre-releases. That's 12 boosters of ours, so, 1 out of 3 packs had it, on average. And that's not include, yeah, I don't think I played green, so there you go. Next card is Frilled Sandwalla. It costs a forest, and you pay force and 1, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Activate this ability only once each turn, it's a 1/1. And I have 2 of them. Now, if you could activate that more than once, this card would be alright. But you can't. I mean, it's still good, because, you can get it out your first turn. Nothing bad about that. Next card is Bitterblade Warrior. It costs force and 1. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+0 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. And it's a 2/2. Death Touch. Always good. Give it first strike. First strike and Death Touch. Honey, you going good. You going good. Next card is Giant Spider. It costs force and 3. It has reach and is a 2/4. Next card is Life Goes On. It costs a forest. You gain 4 life. If a creature died this turn, you gain 8 instead. Yep. Next card is Pouncing Cheetah. It has a cost of forest and 2. It has flash and is a 3/2, and I got 2 of them, which is kind of bad considering I'm a cat. There were 6 of those boosters altogether, but, it's common. You're gonna get doubles and commons. And luck, Next is Oeshra Cultivator. It costs a forest. You can pay forest and 2, tap it, sacrifice Oeshra Cultivator. Search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library, and it's a 0/3. Look, more doubles. But I don't think these were in the same pre-release box, so who cares. Next card is Feral Prowler. It costs forest and 1. And when it dies, draw a card. It's a 1/3. And I got 3 of them. But Kitty! Tie-dye. New Kitty, to be specific. Next card is Bitterbow Sharpshooters. It costs forest and 4. It has vigilance and reach and is a 4/4. Sorry about that. I hit my mic. It's pretty good in my opinion. Next one is Gift of Strength. It costs Forest and 1. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains reach until end of turn. And I got 3 of those between the 3 pre-releases. But I do like how that looks. Next card is Beneath the Sands. It costs Forest and 2. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tab, then shuffle your library. It has cycling of 2, and I got 2 of those in the pre-releases. Next card is Harrier Naga. It costs Forest and 2 and is a 3/3, and I got 3 of them. Next card I am happy about because of a deck I made a while back. It's not legal in like modern or standard even. Sorry, adjust here. That's better. Pride Sovereign costs Forest and 2. And it gets +1/+1 for each other cat you control. And you can play a Plains, tap, and exert it. Create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink, and it's a 2/2. And I got 2 of them. Cat tribal is gonna happen. For me at least. Because I won't be doing standard or modern. Because I'm me. And I like to play casual. And I rarely get to play casual. So please, let me know if you play casual. I will totally play you over some messenger system. I don't care. Now we're to blue. First card is Avon Reedstalker, which costs Island and 3. It has Flash, Flying, and is a 2/3. And I got 2 of them. Birdies. I also have Bird Deck. Or I was working on one, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I finished it. But, you know, I'll get to it eventually. Maybe. Hopefully. Anyway, next card is Compelling Argument. Costs Island and 1. And target player puts the top 5 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, and it has Cycling of an Island. You know, maybe I'll put this in my new perspectives. I can either make you get rid of cards or cycle it to kill you. Either way, killing you. Next card is Striped Riverwinder. It costs Island and 6. It has Hexproof and Cycling of an Island and is a 5/5. I like it. I know someone used this against me. Freaking ginormous monsters. Proven Combatant is our next card, and it costs an island, and it has Eternalize of 2 islands and a 4. Make it a 4/4 zombie. And it's a 1/1. Sorry, drink break. Really quick. Next card is Fraying Sanity. It costs Island and 2. Enchant player. At the beginning of each end step, enchanted player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, where X is the number of cards put into that graveyard from anywhere this turn. So is it cards that go into their graveyard or just a graveyard that turn? I don't know. Either way. You go. Next card is Winds of Rebuke. It costs Island and 1. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Each player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Yeah, no, it's still on Cat. Did you know, it took me until just now to realize that was Kefnet. I don't know what I thought it was, because I think I was confused the entire time and had no idea what I was saying. But that makes sense. I'm smart. I notice things quickly. And by quickly, I mean, you're lucky if I ever notice it. Seeker of Insight is our next card. It costs Island and 1. You can tap it to draw a card and then discard a card. Activate this ability only if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, and it's a 1/1. Our next card is Zenith Seeker. It costs Island and 3. It has Flying. And whenever you cycle or discard a card, target creature gains Flying until end of turn. And it's a 2/2. I'm sorry, but this card always freaks me out because, I mean, I'm used to, like, Avens being bird all the way down. So that's kind of weird. The 6 back, I think. Whatever that is, who cares? It's just weirding me out a little. Though it's based on Egypt, so it's understandable. Ancient Crab is our next card. It costs 2 islands and 1. And it's a 1/5. It's a wall that can pinch. Beware the wall, especially when it pinches. Next card is Essence Scatter. It costs island and 1, and you counter target creature spell. Yay. Spellweaver Eternal is our next card. It costs island and 1, and it has prowess, which whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And Afflict 2. Whenever it becomes a block, defending player loses 2 life, and it's a 2/1. So either they block and take 2, or they don't block and they take 2. Unless you beef it up or something. Who knows? Because once they declare that they're not blocking, you can beef it up, and it could do more than 2 to them. Next card is a foil. Yay! It's Slitherblade. It costs an island, and it can't be blocked, and it's a 1/2. Shiny, shiny, shiny. Sorry, I like shinies. Leave me alone, please. I need to get joy out of my life somewhere. If that means liking shinies way too much, that's what I'm gonna do. Next card is Unsummon. It costs an island, and it unsummons. Return target creature to its owner's hand, and I have 2 of them. Yay! We all missed the unsummons, didn't we? Scribe of the Mindful is our next card. It costs island and 2. You may pay 1 tap and sacrifice Scribe of the Mindful. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand, and it's a 2/2. Yay. Next card is Supreme Will. It costs island and 2, and you can choose 1. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Or look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. I like that little staff there, though. Next card is River Serpent that costs island and 5. It can't attack unless there are 5 or more cards in your graveyard, and it has cycling of an island, and it's a 5/5. Yes. Our next card is Open into Wonder. It costs 2 islands and X. X target creatures can't be blocked this turn. Until end of turn, those creatures gain whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And I pulled 2 of those in the pre-releases. So I went to 3. Next card is Unquenchable Thirst. It costs island and 1. Enchant creature. When unquenchable. Yeah, I'll English someday. When unquenchable Thirst enters the battlefield, if you control a desert or there is a desert card in your graveyard, tap Enchanted Creature. Enchanted Creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step, which could still be good even if you don't have a desert, because either they don't use the creature, except for to block, or it gets tapped. And I got 4 of them. And is that water turning to sand as he tries to pour it into his mouth? Is that what is going in there? Because if that's true, man, no. Get back to the city. So maybe you'll live. Next card is Seer of the Last Tomorrow. It costs island and 2. You may pay island, tap it, and discard a card. Target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, and it's a 1/4. Someday I'll learn how to actually speak. And there's 2 of them from my pre-releases. Yeah. Kinda like it. Didn't use it. Oh wait, I was wrong. There's a 3rd one. Sorry. Next card is Riddle Form. It costs island and 1. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have Riddle Form become a 3/3 Sphinx creature with flying in addition to its other types until end of turn. You may play island and 2 to scry 1. Yay! Next card is Strategic Planning. It costs island and 1. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. And I pulled 2 of those. I'm not big on putting stuff into my graveyard. No offense. I'm not. I mean, unless if I got something that says put creature cards in graveyard, this like Apocalypse Demon. But at the same time, what if all 3 are like islands and I need mana? I don't want to say goodbye to the other 2. Anyway, next card is Cunning Survivor. Costs island and 1. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, Cunning Survivor gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. And it's a 1/3. Yes. Next card is Jace's Defeat. It costs island and 1 and counter target blue spell. If it was a Jace Planeswalker spell, scry 2. And I pulled 2 of those. Yes. Mind blown. Mind blown. Next card is Seeker of Insight. Costs island and 1. You may tap it to draw a card and then discard a card. Activate this ability only if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, and it's a 1/3. Did I already read this? Did I mess up when sorting these? Probably. But oh well. Or maybe it's just another thing, Seer. Maybe it's a Seer instead. Anyway, next card is Tragic Lesson. It costs island and 2. Draw 2 cards and then discard a card. Unless you return a land you control to its owner's hand. This makes me sad. Our next group is White. That was our last blue. But first, a little bit more drink. Our next card is Aven of Enduring Hope. It costs plains and 4, and it has flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. It's a 3/3. I do love flying. And I know when I played this, or I put it down on the table for someone, someone's like, "What's that angel?" And I'm like, "Not an angel," but I totally agree with them. It's an angel. I gain life. Makes me think of Angel of Mercy. Next card is Dauntless Haven. It costs plains and 2. It has flying, and whenever it attacks, untap target creature you control. Be good with Exert. And it's a 2/1. Our next card is a good card I liked. I had it in my original deck for a pre-release, but I changed it obviously. But it made me win a game at least. Approach of the Second Sun. It costs plains and 6. If Approach of the Second Sun was cast from your hand, and you've cast another spell name Approaches the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library 7th from the top, and you gain 7 life. Yeah. Next card is Unconventional Tactics. It costs plains and 2. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains flying until end of turn. Whenever a zombie enters the battlefield under your control, you may play a plains. If you do, return Unconventional Tactics from your graveyard to your hand. It's nice, to say the least. Next one is Those Who Serve. It costs plains and 2, and it's a 2/4. I only pulled 1 of these, actually. I was expecting there to be more. But then again, it is from Amonkhet. Next card is Forsake the Worldly. It costs plains and 2. Exile target artifact or enchantment. It has cycling of 2. And I pulled 3 of those. So that means on average, half of my Amonkhet had it. Next card is Jeru's Renunciation. It costs planes in 1. Tap up to 2 target creatures, and it has cycling of planes. The next card is Dejeru with Eyes Open. It costs 2 planes and 3, and it has Vigilance. And when Dejeru with Eyes Open enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. If a source would deal damage to a Planeswalker you control, prevent 1 of that damage, and it's a 4/3. Ooh, my friend needs this. Well, except for he's tearing apart his Gideon deck. But, I mean, he could play this and then, like, pull Gideon from his deck. Next card is Steadfast Sentinel. It costs planes in 3. It has Vigilance and Internalize of 2 planes in 4. And is a 2/3. And I pulled 3 of them. Yeah. I didn't use it, obviously, but still. Next card is Compulsory Rest. Costs planes in 1. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. Enchanted creature has pay 2. Sacrifice this creature. You gain 2 life. It's a fun card. I did use this in one of my decks, because I remember one of my decks was red-white. Next card is Mighty Leap. It costs planes in 1. Target creature gains +2/+2 and flying until end of turn. I like the art for this card, though. Next card is Solitary Camel. It costs planes in 2. And it has lifelink as long as you control a desert or there is a desert card in your graveyard, and it's a 3/2. Next card is Mummy Paramount. Costs planes in 1, and whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, Mummy Paramount gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and it's a 2/2. And I pulled 2 of them. My nail looks horrible, I know. Next card is Dutiful Servants. It costs planes in 3 and is a 2/5. I pulled 2 of them. Next card is Renewed Faith. It costs planes in 2. You gain 6 life. Cycling of planes in 1, and when you cycle it, you may gain 2 life. Yeah. Sorry. Hey, y'all can see how long this video is getting, and my chair sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a chair, though. Next card is Ret Crop Spearmaster. It costs planes in 2. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. And it's a 3/1. I like to state I didn't pull any planeswalkers, but I never do, really. So, I was likely to get that one Gideon. Next card is Angel of the God Pharaoh. It costs 2 planes in 4. It has flying and cycling of 2 and is a 4/4. Next card is Vizier of the True. It costs planes in 3, and you may exert it as it attacks. Whenever you exert creature, tap target creature in opponent controls, and it's a 3/2. Next card is Sandblast. Costs planes in 2. Sandblast deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Our next card is awesome in my opinion. Oketra the True. It costs planes in 3. It has double strike. It's indestructible. And it can't attack or block unless you control at least 3 other creatures. You can play planes in 3, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. I think this would go good with Pride Sovereign. And I don't care if it's not considered a cat. I consider it a cat, so it doesn't get the bonus, obviously, the Pride Sovereign, but who cares? Next card is one of my promo cards, and it's Oketra's Last Mercy. It costs 2 planes in 1. Your life total becomes equal to your starting life total. Lands you control don't untap during your next untap step. Foil. It's nice, in my opinion. Next card is Oketra's Avenger. It costs planes and 1. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to it this turn. An exerted creature won't untap during your untap step, obviously. It's a 3/1. Next card is Act of Heroism. It costs planes and 1. Untap target creature. It gets +2/+2 until end of turn and can block an additional creature this turn. And I pulled 3 of them. Yeah. Next card is God Pharaoh's Faithful. It costs planes. Whenever you cast a blue, black, or red spell, you gain 1 life, and it's a 0/4. I like this card. Gideon's Defeat costs a planes and exile target white creature that's attacking or blocking. If it was a Gideon Planeswalker, you gain 5 life. Personally, I think Jace's Defeat looks more awesome. But that's me. Next card is Sunscorched Champion. It costs planes and 2. And when it enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to its power, and it has Eternalize of pay 2 planes and 2, and discard a card. And I pulled 3 of them. The next card is Time to Reflect. It costs a planes, and exile a target creature that blocked or was blocked by a zombie this turn. Our next card is our last white card. It is also a promo. Overwhelming Splendor costs 2 planes and 6. Enchant player. Creatures enchanted player controls lose all abilities and have base power and toughness of 1/1. Enchanted player can't activate abilities that aren't mana abilities or loyalty abilities. Yeah. I kept it in the plastic because I didn't use it, obviously. That's cool. I liked it, though. I thought about using it, but I'm like, white pull for that one wasn't good enough compared to other pulls. And our next color is red, yas. First card is Granitic. I can't say this. It's granite with a C, though. Titan. It costs 2 mountain and 4. It has menace and cycling of 2, and it's a 5/4. And I pulled 2 of them. I told you I couldn't English. Lived in America all my life, can't English. Don't get your hopes up that I'm going to start being able to English anytime soon. I'm sorry. Next card is Fling, which costs a mountain and 1. As an additional cost to cast Fling, sacrifice a creature. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature or player. And I like Stake. This thing killed me once because she had something that was a 12/6 or something. It wasn't a good time. Next card is Desert Ceradon. It costs mountain and 5, and it has cycling of a mountain and is a 6/4. It's a pretty good card. If it's useless, cycle it. If it's good at the time you're playing, well then, guess what? 6/4 time, buddy. Imagine if you gave it double strike somehow. Next card is a Braid. It costs mountain and 1. Choose 1. It deals 3 damage to target creature or destroy target artifact. Which, I mean, can be helpful if you're going against a big artifact deck from Kaladesh, Aether Revolt. There's not that many artifacts, it seems like, in Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation, though I'm comparing that to Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. It's hard to have a lot compared to that. The next card is Manticore Internal. It costs 2 mountains and 3, and it has Afflict of 3. And it attacks each combat if able, and is a 5/4, and I have 2 of them. Yeah. Next card is Hazoret's Favor. It costs a mountain and 2, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature you control get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. If you do, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step, and I got 1 of those. Next card is Pathmaker Initiate. It costs mountain and 1, and you can tap it. Target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn, and it's a 2/1. Kind of like this art too. I mean, I like all art, really. There's very few that I specifically don't like, you know. Next card is Electrify. It costs Mountain in 3, and it deals 4 damage to target creature. And yes, I have a lamp behind my computer, so you can see cards better, hopefully. Next card is True Heart Twins. It costs Mountain in 4. You may exert it as it attacks. Whenever you exert a creature, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. And it's a 4/4, and I got 2 of them. Yeah. Next card is Thresher Lizard. It costs Mountain in 2. And it gets +1/+2 as long as you have 1 or fewer cards in your hand, and it's a 3/2. Our next card is Nefcrop Entangler. It costs Mountain in 1. It has Trample, and you may exert it as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+2 until end of turn, and it's a 2/1. Our next card is Defiant Kenra. It costs Mountain in 1 and is a 2/2. Hey, sometimes vanilla creatures aren't that bad, especially in pre-release. They can save you, I'm telling you. Next card is Kindled Fury. It costs a Mountain, and target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. And I pulled 2 of them that weren't in my decks. And I don't think I put these in my deck, and I'm not sure if I did or not. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Short-term memory here. Next card is Crash 3 and costs a Mountain. Creatures you control gain Trample until end of turn. Draw a card. I draw cards usually in blue, so it's pretty nice to see it out of its color a little bit. Chandra's Defeat also costs just a Mountain. It deals 5 damage to target red creature or red planeswalker. If that permanent is a Chandra planeswalker, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. That's pretty good. 5 damage. I mean, it's limited to red, but 5 damage, man. Not bad. Next card is Puncturing Blow. Costs 2 Mountains and 2. Deals 5 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. And I pulled 2 of them. Yeah. Our next card is our last red card that I didn't use, and it's Sand Strangler. It costs Mountain in 3, and when it enters the battlefield, if you control a desert, or there is a desert card in your graveyard, you may have Sand Strangler deal 3 damage to target creature, and it's a 3/3. And everyone, I know this video is long, but I don't want to stop at this point. I think there's a 4th to a 5th, somewhere in there, cards left. So, yeah. Oops. Oh, wait. No, I did that right. Now we're to black. Splendid Agony costs Swamp in 2. Distribute 2 -1/-1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures. Our next card is Kenra Eternal. Costs Swamp in 1, and it has Afflict 1 and is a 2/2. Our next card is Liliana's Defeat. It costs a Swamp. Destroy target black creature or black planeswalker. If that permanent was a Liliana planeswalker, her controller loses 3 life. Fine times right there. Next card is Wretched Camel. It costs Swamp in 1, and when it dies, if you control a desert or there's a desert card in your graveyard, target player discards a card, and it's a 2/1. Next card is Vile Manifestation. It costs Swamp in 1, and it gets +1/+0 for each card with cycling in your graveyard, and it has cycling of 2, and it's a 0/4. The next card is Final Reward. It costs Swamp in 4. Exile target creature. That's it. Which, I like to say, it's an instant, and you can actually use it against Gideon, because he can turn into a creature. The second they do that, you just whip out your Final Reward, and since he turned Gideon into a creature, Gideon's gone. Next card is Cursed Minotaur. It costs Swamp and 2. It has Menace and is a 3/2. Next card is Lurching Rot Beast. It costs Swamp and 3. It has Cycling of Swamp and it's a 4/2. I pulled 2 of these and one of them is shiny. But that thing looks horrific and I think it's an elephant. I'm calling it an elephant. Because that's what it is to me, at least. Our next card is Pitiless Vizier. It costs Swamp and 3, and whenever you cycle or discard a card, Pitiless Vizier gains Indestructible until end of turn, and it's a 4/2. Our next card is Festering Mummy. It costs a Swamp, and when it dies, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature, and it's a 1/1. Next card is Scrounger of Souls. It costs Swamp and 4. It has Lifelink and is a 3/4. I do like Lifelink though. Next card is Horror of the Broken Lands. It costs Swamp and 4. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, Horror of the Broken Lands gets +2/+1 until end of turn, and it has Cycling of a Swamp and is a 4/4. It's interesting looking, at least. Next card is Grizzly Survivor. It costs Swamp and 2, and when you cycle or discard a card, Grizzly Survivor gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and it's a 2/3. It's interesting. I assume what it means by survivor is one who's been tossed out into the desert. I mean, that's my best guess, at least. Next card is Painful Lesson. It costs Swamp and 2. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. And our final black card is Without Weakness. It costs Swamp and 1. Target creature you control gains Indestructible until end of turn and has Cycling of 2. I only have one Aftermath card I didn't use, and it was Consigned to Oblivion. Consigned says Island in 1, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and Oblivion is Swamp in 4. Target opponent discards 2 cards. That's nice. It would be nicer if the one that's played from the graveyard was an instant. I have a few multicolored cards. First one is Kenra Charioteer. It costs Forest, Mountain, and 1. Trample, and other creatures you control have trample, and it's a 3/3. That one's pretty nice if you're playing those colors. Our next card is River Hoopoe. It costs Forest and Island. It has Flying. You can pay Island, Forest, and 3. You gain 2 life and draw a card, and it's a 1/3. I pulled 4 of these things over the course of my pre-releases. 4 of these things. But one was shiny. This bird likes me. And I think in one pre-release I pulled 3 of them. Seriously. 3 of them. Of course, one of them replaced the common being the foil. But my God! When you see that many of one card between 3 pre-releases, which 3 of them were in one pre-release, you're like, I hate this bird already. And of course, as you know, I got some lands. I got Desert of the Fervent. Enters the battlefield tapped, and I can tap it to add a mountain to my mana pool or cycle it for a mountain in 1. Next card is Grasping Dunes. I can tap it to add a colorless to my mana pool. I can pay 1, tap, and sacrifice Grasping Dunes to put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Activate this ability only anytime you cast a sorcery. Next, we've got Cradle of the Accursed. I can tap it to add colorless to my mana pool. Pay 3, tap it, sacrifice Cradle of the Accursed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Activate this ability only anytime you cast a sorcery, and I have 2 of those. And then we have Desert of the Glorified. And it enters the battlefield tapped. I can tap to add swamp to my mana pool. Now cycling of swamp in 1. Next is Desert of the Mindful. It enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it to add an island. And it has cycling of island in 1. Do you see a theme here? I hope you do. Next is Desert of the True. Enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it to add plains. And cycling of plains in 1. Surprise, there's the theme. I didn't get Ronus's Desert, though. That's sad. Oh well. Too bad, so sad. Next card is Sunscorched Desert. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target player. I can tap it to add colorless to my mana pool, and I pulled 2 of those. I like Cradle of the Cursed more, though. Dunes of the Dead is next, and I can tap it to add colorless to the mana pool. And when Dunes of the Dead is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, which is good for all those cards saying sacrifice the desert to do something. So create a Zambi. And the next one is Ipnu Rivulet. Sorry. You can tap it to add colorless to your mana pool. Tap it to and pay 1 life to add island to your mana pool. Pay island to 1, tap it, sacrifice the desert. Target player puts the top 4 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. I did pull this in full in a prize pack. It was nice. Now, we're to the artifacts. There's not many left, I promise you. Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. It costs 2. It has Defender, and you can tap it. Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs deals 1 damage to target player. Activate this ability only if you control a desert or there's a desert card in your graveyard, and it's a 0/4. Next card is Crook of Condemnation. It costs 2. You can pay 1 and tap it to exile target card from a graveyard, or pay 1, exile Crook of Condemnation. Exile all cards from all graveyards. Next card is Manalith. You pay 3 to get it out. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And I pulled 2 that weren't in my decks. Manalith is very useful. So I wish it cost 2. But of any color, not color your lands produce. So, you know. Next card is Watchers of the Dead. It costs 2. And you can exile it. Each opponent chooses 2 cards in his or her graveyard and exiles the rest. It's a 2/2. That one cat's kind of creepy. Ooh, but give Pride Sovereign its bonus, which is nice. Our next card is Graven Abomination. It costs 3. And whenever Graven Abomination attacks, exile target card from defending player's graveyard, and it's a 3/1. And I pulled 2 of them. Our next card is Embalmer's Tools. It costs 2. Activate abilities of creature cards in your graveyard costs 1 less to activate. Tap an untapped zombie you control. Target player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Hey, guess what? We're to the final card, and it's a promo. The Hollow One. It costs 5, and Hollow One costs 2 less to cast for each card you've cycled or discarded this turn. And it has cycling of 2, and it's a 4/4. And it's a pretty fire. Well, now you've seen all the cards that didn't make it into my final decks for pre-release. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you next time, and I also hope you're having a nice day. So I'll see you again. Bye bye.